Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Influence Me. Today, I'm very excited for our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, with us today, Anita, Meza in the house. Los aplausos, come on.
For drum roll.
Yeah, we need a lot of energy today because it's a little early, and I think that we need to
pump it up a little bit. Some shots.
How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
No, thank you guys for having me. It means a lot, honestly.
I was like, hopefully when I reached out to you, I was like, hopefully she's down because with you, I feel that we have a lot of topics we can talk about. Mm-hmm. You have a podcast as well.
The Ain't That Some
How did you guys come up with that name?
Betsy, actually. I think she heard it somewhere. She reached out. She was like, hey, what do you think about this name? And I'm like, you know what? I like it. Because, we can always say at the end of every episode, be like, ain't that some
That's funny. So your podcast, you guys talk a lot of topics about, relatable things and things that people go through. And you yourself have like a story that a lot of people I feel that could identify and could relate to.
Right.
And I'm excited to talk to you about that. Like everyone I feel has their own challenges and has their own obstacles. You as well have been going through obviously your own. So talk to me about your upbringing and how those challenges started for you at a young age.
Yeah. So I've shared this story, but if you guys don't know, I was actually born in Mexico, and then we came here when I was around 7 years old. So that was alone a very hard challenge moment for me, just because I came to a place where I did not know English, and I would get bullied in school because I did not know English, right, like I said. So I did get held back like a grade, and then just all of that was it was hard. But I do want to share like some of my childhood. I came from, a very, very poor country. Mm-hmm. My dad was an alcoholic. He was abusive. So all of us, we're in total of 5. Mm-hmm. And my mom, my dad, we were living in Puebla. And I remember we had no food, no clothes. Like I'm telling you, people now see me and they're like, oh, you've always had it all. Mm-hmm. No, you guys, like, we came here and we had nothing. When we came here, we ended up staying at my tia's house, and she had a little garage, and we would sleep there. And for me, it was really hard because my mom, she at the minute we crossed here, she had to get a job, and the job that she was working at, she was a nanny, but they required her to stay there from Monday through Saturday. And so she would only come and like shower me and then go back to work. And I remember I would always cry because I came to a family that I've never met in my life. Right. And so she had to leave, and I would cry, and I was like, oh my God, like I don't want you to leave, So it was really hard trying to adjust to like a new place, new family, the environment. Yeah. And so, even now till this day, I always remind my daughter like, hey, always be grateful for clothes, shoes. I remember I had nothing growing up. Like when it was Christmas in Mexico, like, Los Santos Reyes. Yeah. My mom would be like, oh, pon tu zapatito afuera, and they'll bring you a toy, and I remember sometimes she would make like muñequitos out of clothes. She would cut out the clothes, and she would make and stuff it in there like it wasn't a real toy,
right, but just to bring you that happiness,
like, oh, I got something, so that's one of the challenges that we had to deal with. And
is there a particular reason? Well, did you guys come with your both parents, or it was just she came because due to that separation?
Yeah, so actually my dad was like I said, he was an alcoholic, and he was very abusive towards my mom and towards my siblings. But one day my dad was going to beat up my mom, and my brother, who's the oldest, he kind of had like that role, and like I have to protect my siblings, my mom. So one day when my dad was trying to hit her, he said, se le puso, he's like, this is the last time you're touching my mom. He's like, from now on, you're no longer going to touch her. And so he ended up taking us to my mom's brother's house. Mm-hmm. So we all went there, And then my dad would like constantly go look for us. And then he wouldn't leave us alone. So that's when my mom was like, you know what? We're going to move from here and we're going to go to the U.S. so he can leave us alone, because he was constantly like.
Right. And how's your relationship with him now?
I don't talk to my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't talk to him. He tried coming into our lives like a few years ago, but I just feel like he hasn't proven himself to us, like even apologized to anything that he's done. So I don't have any relationship with him.
Okay. So you said you talked to your daughter about being grateful and about, you know, yeah, mainly being grateful about the food and the little things like, you know, that maybe they don't kind of think about.
Right.
It's really hard nowadays. Obviously, I have my own kids, and it's really hard to, because we had somewhat of a similar story with my mom. It was kind of the same situation. We'd move from my aunt's house to the other aunt's house, to living room, to garage, to a different, to Riverside, to, you know, we moved so much almost every year.
Wow.
And it was hard because you have to do that restart, you know, but I can only imagine you coming from Mexico and having to restart here, not knowing the language, not knowing, you know, people, your friends, cousins, like,
right.
So it's hard. I feel that to talk to the kids. How difficult has it been now talking to your daughter about like that, like, you know, why everything's gonna be okay, mommy? Because we have to give them that encouragement. We have to give them that like positive, like everything is gonna be okay, you know. But how hard is that for you? It
is really hard. I think as a parent, you know, you always want the best for your kids, and you're always trying to look out for them. In the meantime, trying to be okay yourself. So, you know, I always try to encourage her, like, you know, this is what's happening. But at the end of the day, you and your brother are our priority, and your happiness is what matters. We love you, and that's all that matters, you know. But I always try to encourage her, and always trying to tell her, like, you know, be grateful for what you do have, because when I was your age, I had, you know, I always try to give her comparison of what to look for. You know, I'm like, hey, you know, when I was your age, I had no shoes. You know, I remember like I would get shoes once a year, and that was, you know, like they had to be used shoes or, you know, little things like that she's like, oh, okay, mommy, you know, or even throwing away food, like, you know, be cautious of how much food you're ordering if you're not going to finish all of it, you know, and little things like that. But it's definitely hard.
And once you started, let's go to when you first started social media, and what got you to start social media. How did that begin?
Oh, honestly, I think I've always been interested in the beauty industry. But it's I come from like a long journey. I remember when as soon as I graduated high school, I started doing nails from home, just as a little hobby, you know. I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I started doing them, and then I started building clients. And then from there, I was really intrigued by makeup. And I remember I think YouTube was barely a thing, and girls started posting makeup tutorials. And I was like, oh, this is cool. You know, I started getting into the makeup industry. And then I think from the makeup industry, it started going into like vlogs and stuff like that. You started seeing more of that. Like the beauty influencers started vlogging their lives, their lifestyle. So I was like, oh, this is so interesting. I would always watch them. So then one day, I remember I got my a camera, and I started recording, and then I started a little family channel with me, Jose, and the kids. Mila at the time, but we weren't consistent. We were just like posting. This was before even COVID, so we would just post here and there, but not really taking it seriously. We just do it for fun, and then after Jose started, you know, dealing with influencers, that's when we really took off. Yes. Was it different for Mila at that age? Was like kind of like being like shy in the camera? Because I tried getting my kids into it. Like I was like, hey, like let's do it, you know. And they're like, nah, we don't want to do it. I was like, all right, fuck it. You're like, all right, let's do your thing. No, she loved it. She would always be like, mommy, why are we not vlogging? Mommy, let's vlog.
She was pushing you guys
all the time. Yeah, no, she loves being in front of the camera. Even till this day, she'll be like, oh, mommy, can we record a vlog? And I'm like, oh yeah, baby, you know. So it's nice to know that she enjoys it too, because we wouldn't want to force her. So
it sounds like you were growing up, even like becoming an entrepreneur. You're doing little things, you know, entrepreneur tendencies.
Yes.
So talk to me about that. Like, was it from your mom's side? Was there family members that you kind of would see, or was it your own struggles that you were going through that kind of made you
Yeah, you know what? I think I admire my brother a lot. Like I said, he is the oldest. When we came here, I believe he was like around 15, 16 years old. But instead of, coming to school, he straight went to work. But my brother, I think he's one of my role models. Seeing him struggle, and at age 23, like, mind this, he had no papers. We were here undocumented. At age 23, he had bought duplexes.
Oh,
and
wow.
he had bought a restaurant.
Wow.
At age 23. So he came at 16, and then at 23, he had owned with him and his girlfriend, and, he bought duplexes, he bought a restaurant. So seeing him, always fighting and not letting anything get in his way, because easily, somebody could be like, well, find an excuse to not become something.
Right.
So I think for me, it's always been like, oh, we have to hustle. We have to become something. We have to always keep working no matter what you're going through in life. Like, so I think that's always been kind of like a thing in me, and just watching him.
And the business that you're saying that you were doing as a hobby, was that like, did you try taking that serious, or was that just like trying to make?
No, so at the time I was working at a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant. I think this was when I was like 19 years old. And I was just honestly doing it just for fun. Like, I was like, oh, this is fun. And then I was getting little side money, and at that time we were planning our wedding. Jose and I, we were going to start a wedding. So that helped, that little income. But I never really saw it as in like, oh, I can take it bigger. Like, I think I was so just like not in that mindset,
Right.
that I could have taken it bigger.
Right. So do you feel now that you're doing it on your own has been like a crazy transition, or were you kind of prepared for that, where you're like, you've been wanting it,
Well, you know what? It's hard because I think I started working when I was 14. As soon as I turned 14, my mom was like, you know what? You need to get a job. You need to learn how to pay for your own bills, and you're going to start paying me rent. So I was always been working since I was 14, and then kind of in that mentality, like very independent. After I had Mila, I stopped working for a year, and I fell into really bad depression. So, when you have kids, you do get postpartum depression. A lot of women fall into it.
Can you explain what that is for? Because there's guy viewers, and I also want to, when we were talking about like yesterday, I thought about, like, because I honestly, I've heard the term, but I don't know exactly what that means.
Yes.
So since we do have guy viewers, I want them, if their girlfriend is going through something, that way they understand them and can help them, deal with that.
Become aware. Yeah. So, when postpartum depression is after you give birth, you fall into a depression, whether obviously when you give birth, your hormones are up and down, and your body's kind of, stabilizing. And in all of that, your body's changing, but also your emotions, you're trying to deal with, trying to keep a baby alive, and then your body's gone through so much. So there's a lot of things that happen. As far as me, I think once Aiden was born at 2 weeks, that's when it hit me. I would just feel really sad. And I remember my mom, she would come over, and, la cuarentena, they come and help you. I was feeling, it's just I can't explain it, but you feel out of your body. You just want to cry. And then obviously your life changes, because you now have to stay at home, take care of a baby. And if you're used to being out and about, working and all of that, I mean, your life has to be put on hold to be able to, take care of your baby. And it really does take a mental toll on you. And, a lot of the dads out there, they're like, oh, well, I don't understand, but if you see your wife acting weird, or if you see her crying, don't ask her like, but why, you have all this, you have that, like, why, I highly suggest, have her seek therapy. Therapy is going to help. Even some medication sometimes help, but for sure, like, be there for her. And yeah, I mean, it's a really hard journey for us women.
When you first had Mila, how different was that change for you then?
Very different, because like I said, I had to take a whole year off. So I was just with her. And I think you lose yourself. You really do, because you really try to be like, oh, I need to be a mom now. I'm a mom. And then I think, you know, our culture engraves so much in your head, like, you're a mom, you know, this is what you signed up for, and this is all you get to do, like, just stay
No
at
puedes
home.
estar de loca allá en el antro, no puedes estar.
Exactly. Like, no tienes que hacer esto.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, and you feel guilty when you actually do it. But, you know, when you don't have time for yourself, you lose yourself. You lose your identity. You don't know who you are. You just know you're a mom, and that's your job, your responsibility. And it takes a big toll on your body, mentally, physically, everything. I mean, when I was, after I had Mila, I lost so much pounds, like so much weight. I went down to like 72 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I was just skin and bones because I was really, really depressed. And I'm the type that when I have like anxiety or depression, like, I don't eat. There's a lot of women who, you know, overeat, or some don't eat, you lose appetite. And that was me. So I lost so much weight. And it was just so hard. So hard.
Like when you started feeling better, was there a particular reason? What is it that helped you go through that?
To get through that?
Yeah, to get through Milas.
Well, through Milas, I think once I started working, I started doing, I didn't want to get a regular job just because I think once you have kids, it's so hard. Like, sometimes they get sick, you know, you have someone to watch them. And so, you know, getting a job, it makes it 10 times harder. So I remember I was actually trying to apply at MAC because I started getting into the makeup industry. And I applied at MAC, and then Jose told me, he was like, why are you applying at jobs? He's like, why don't you just do it as a side hustle, start your own business? And so I was like, you know what, you're right. And I remember that day we actually went and bought a whole makeup kit to start my own makeup business. So from there, I started slowly, you know, booking clients during the weekends, and I started having more time for myself. Like, believe it or not, being at home with the kids 24/7, it's draining.
Yeah.
It's so draining. So even if you take 2-3 days, you know, working, or like 2-3 hours out of the day, it helps you refresh.
Like,
so
your mind is
somewhere else. You get to interact with actual people, you know, not just kids. So for me, it was like, oh my God, like, okay. And it helps you, you know, recharge, be a better mom. So that was honestly helping me.
Can you talk a little bit more in depth of like what you guys, not emotionally, but physically and mentally go through when it comes to like being a whole mom, and then trying to be there for your man, and then like trying to find yourself, and it's like so many things that you guys go through, because especially now that you're going through it alone, or like a single parent. My mom went through that, and I respect her so much for that, because she hustled, you know, she busted her ass for us to just have food in the table. Back in the day, there was there wasn't that entrepreneur stuff, or she wasn't connected with people like that. But now you are doing that, and it can you explain a little bit, or go in a little bit more in detail of what you go through?
Yeah, no, it's definitely challenging, just because you know, you now don't have the support of your significant other, you know. So I mean, he's financially there for the kids, you know, but I think once you're a single parent, like, now you're on your own. So now you have to hustle for their future. And, you know, when you have a partner, it's like you guys can both rely back and forth. And, you know, so now it's a little bit challenging. And then amidst of all of that, it's like trying to find time for yourself, trying to find time for the kids, trying to find time for your business, trying to find time for, you know, being at the house. So it's definitely challenging. For me, I think the hardest part is the mom guilt, because, you know, I'm, like I said, I did not have my mom, and this was probably the hardest thing, and why I even fell into more depression, because I did not have my mom with me like 24/7. When we came here, she had to leave. So I was always alone, and I know how that felt. So I put that pressure on me. Now as a mom, I'm like, okay, I can't leave my kids. You know, I have to be there for them. And doing something even for myself felt guilty. So I kind of, and it was wrong for me to do that, you know, but at the time you try to be the best mom that you can be towards your kids. So for me, it was like, okay, I can't leave the kids. I have to be the best mom for them. If I leave them, then they're going to start feeling the way I did. And then they're going to have, you know, issues when they get older and feeling abandoned and all of this. So it took a big toll on me. And I started losing myself. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I did not know who I was. I started feeling super depressed. And it was just like, I need to be that mom. I need to be that wife. I need to be just them. Overwhelming. Yeah. So I had to, you know, stop and be like, you know what? No, I need to be okay with, you know, leaving them, because at the end of the day, a happy me is a happy kid,
right?
You know, but once you understand that, that's when, you know, you got to go to work. You got to do this. I mean, even now, you know, sometimes I leave and I'm like, you know, it sucks that I have to leave them, but at the end of the day, I remind myself, you know what, it's for their best and for their future.
Yeah, and your intent, most importantly, your intent is good, right? Exactly. Like, you're not leaving them to just fucking go and just you know, not be with them. You're working for their future, and you're working to provide for them.
I think when our YouTube channel hit, and this is why it took a big toll on me, just because, so Jose was the one out there. He was more used to, like, you know, he was already getting the attention from viewers, from followers, and all of that. I was more in the back, kind of like staying at home with the kids. So I had no idea what all this whole social media was about. And so when our YouTube channel took off and we grew, like, honestly, I feel like we grew overnight. I went from having, I think I had just created my Instagram. I had like 636 followers, and I went up to like 15K overnight. And I was just like, whoa.
Was there a particular video that
Yes, so it was on for Jose's birthday. And then I think Us Always came down. They gave us a big shout out. And then from there, it was like people started subscribing. People started following our social medias, you know. And so we just grew. And honestly, when you do grow that fast, you have people's opinions, people, you know, they start judging you, comments, blah blah blah. So I think it really got to me. I started getting panic attacks. I was like, oh my God, like, people are telling me I'm a bad mom, people are telling me this, you know. And when you're already going through depression, like, people's opinions, and if you don't have a thick skin, it gets to you. And I think for me, that's what happened. Like, I just started closing up even more, and I was like, well, I don't want people to think I'm a bad mom. So whenever I did see, like, oh, our other friends are getting judged because of their going out, I'm going to get judged, so I'm not going to go out, you know? So it takes a big toll on you. And then that's when, like, everybody that, even till this day, like, people that don't know me because they came into our lives when I was just a mom. I did not have my business. People didn't know that I was a makeup artist, you know. They just knew that I was a stay-at-home mom taking care of the kids, and Jose was, you know, out there working and stuff. So now that I'm finding myself, like, I'm starting to go out, doing things for myself. I opened up my own business. Now people are like, whoa, you know,
where
it's
does
a
girl
big
come
change.
From?
Yeah, it's a big change, but it's like, I've always been this person. They just never saw it. They came into my life when I was I was in a very dark place at the moment, and that's all they know, because our YouTube channel's only been open for like 2 years.
Yeah, when Jose was telling me that how quick you guys grow, I was like, wow. Like, I honestly thought when you guys first hit me up for your I think it was the gender reveal, I was like, wow, like, I thought you guys were like have been a while, but he said it was definitely recent.
It had just happened. Yeah, so it was in August, September, October, and I think our gender reveal was like in, when did you do our gender reveal?
I forgot, to be honest.
I forgot too. I'm like, mommy brain.
Yeah.
But it was just a couple of months.
Yeah. That's so crazy. So in terms of social media, where are you now? What is your like goal with that?
Plan? Yeah. I definitely so we have our family channel, which we're gonna keep. At the end of the day, you know, that's for our kids and but I do want to start my own channel. And I do want to branch out, because I do want to share more about me, who I am as a person, not just, you know, the mom on our family channel. But I'm definitely going to take more control of that, put more myself out there.
Is it scary though?
It's very scary. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's never going to stop getting scary, just because, you know, we're in this world where a lot of people are very, very harsh.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about how that podcast came about and what was the decision or why you guys made that.
So at the time with my co-host Betsy, she initially wanted to do a podcast, and I remember we were both kind of going through the same situation as far as our relationship. So we were like, you know what? We were both, every time we would be on the phone, we're like, you know what? This sounds so good. Like, man, I would hang up with her and I was like, damn, I feel good now. Like, I feel like I can go and conquer the world again. So we decided, like, you know what? Like, these conversations that we're having are very, very beneficial. Like, so we can actually share it with other women that are going through the same thing we are. So that's how we decided, you know, to actually take full effect on the podcast. So when we did, I remember we had a lot of good feedback with women. They would be like, oh my God, you guys, this is so relatable. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I know what you're going through. You know, we can relate so much as far as the relationships, as far as like being a wife, being a mom. So we just kept it really raw. And I think that's what people really felt like. Okay, if you guys are going through that, then, you know, you guys are very relatable.
Right. Has there been any crazy stories that you guys are like, wow, like we did not expect this type of feedback? You know, with people, because when I first started doing the podcast, people started emailing or DMing me their stories. And it's like, oh shit, like you don't know the impact that you can have on people, you know?
Exactly. And this is why I love social media, not just like with the podcasting, but, you know, if you're able to share your life, your journey, or a piece of story, and, you know, sometimes like even with my family, they don't understand. They'll be like, but why do you have to put your life out there? And then I tell them, Mom, you have no idea how many women have reached out to me and told me that thanks to me, they're in a better place in their life, you know? And I'm like, you just never know what, you know, sharing your story or sharing a struggle that you're going through, you could save someone's life. And to me, that's if I could do that to anybody, then I've done what, yeah, exactly. That's what fulfills me.
Let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurs, because I myself am one. And
killing it too.
Trying to.
No, you are.
And trying to, because it's hard. It's fucking hard. Mentally and physically, I feel that there is a lot of people that are going through it, and I kind of want to shine a little bit of light to that, and give them some sort of hope, you know?
Absolutely.
Because there is a lot of noise that we have to block off. There's a lot of doubts of ourselves, and maybe even of other people that instill in us.
Absolutely.
So what has been one of your hardest right now, you doing your own business? What has been one of the hardest challenges for you?
Ooh, honestly, I think with being your own boss, it's probably the hardest thing, just because, like you said, you have to be your own self up, you know, like the fears, because I think we're our worst critics. We're our worst, we can hold ourselves back a lot. And if you can't beat that, then you're screwed. And I think that's one of the hardest things for me, you know, it's being alone in this business, because I've always had my partner who's always like encouraged me, and we kind of would always go back and forth. So now that I'm alone, you know, it's like I started this business from scratch, you know. And what is it? So I do microblading. So I'm a permanent makeup artist. And I just started about 5 months ago. And so I had to build that business from scratch. Like I remember I came to LA for a 4-day course. And that was my first time ever driving alone this far. And so this is the part where I always say, like, this business saved my life, because I was going through a really hard time. Just like 5 months ago, you know, I was dealing with my separation. I was dealing with my depression and all of that, where I was feeling I was drowning myself. So I said, you know what? I can't be like this anymore. I got to figure something out. I got to find something that makes me happy, that, you know, I just got to get out of this. So I went back to the beauty industry, and I decided to go with a permanent makeup artist. And I found a course here in LA. I came here. It was a 4-day course, and I stayed here. And it was so hard because this is the longest I've been without my babies.
So the 4 days, like it was here, like
it
you didn't
was
go
here.
back.
No, I was just staying here. It was from Friday to Monday, and it was literally an all-day course. I was from like 7 till like 6, and I would just come back, sleep, and then the next day it was the same thing. But it was very hard because I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? I don't like. I mean, I've always ever since I turned 24, I've never worked a 9-to-5 job. I always just been like a business owner myself, so this was different because I didn't have my partner, somebody to like guide me, help me, who has more knowledge in the business industry. So this time I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just do what I know from my other previous businesses. And yeah, I mean, it's luckily and thank God, my business took off within the first month that, I opened up my business and I started posting. I was booked up until July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, whoa, it was definitely life-changing for me, for my kids. And so I was just like, whoa, but that honestly saved my life, saved me. But along with all of that comes a lot of challenges because now your kids depend on your income. So now it's like I have to grind even harder, be posting every day, remember to take content, So when you're your own business, it's like you're behind. You have to take all the responsibilities, cleaning, making sure that you're up to date with the organizing everything. So it's
because it's like how you said before. Right now, they may look at you as someone that already made it, and you're good. But at the end of the day, we still have to work, we still have to hustle, we still have to make sure that we provide. Because I mean, like what happened in COVID, it's like it could happen again, and that took a big toll on a lot of small businesses. So I would say, yeah, like just keep on going. Don't stop. Keep a positive mind because it is hard when you're trying to pick up a business. I don't know how difficult that was for you, but it's hard when you're trying to pick up a business not knowing, like, is it going to work? Are they going to even purchase from me? Are they going to, how's the money? Like, is it even going to work? So there's
a lot of like doubts. Negative and doubts that come even till this day, I mean, for a while, my business took a big hit too. And I was just like, oh my God, because when I first launched it, it was like, boom, I was booked, and I was so busy. And then it came to a point where I was like, what's going on?
I'm happy that you say that because a lot of people don't like to admit that. They want to say like, what, my business took off and I haven't stopped in and I've been on top since. No. That's so fucking cool that you did because everyone goes through that. Every fucking business goes through that. And
it's hard because sometimes when you're going through it, you feel like you're the only one. And I'm like, damn, now what do I do? It's like if you now got to find a different hustle. Like, so this is why I'm branching too, even for like my own YouTube channel to, just have different source of income.
Yeah.
But it's hard because, sometimes I go to bed and I'm like, damn, what do I got to do? Do I have to keep posting more? Do I have to be, I even grabbed my daughter the other day and I was like, you know what, we're going to go pass out flyers like around the neighborhood. Like we just have to figure out a way,
That's so fucking dope.
So yeah, even her now, she helps me. She gets my little business cards and she'll be like passing them out. And, but I do struggle, even till this day. I'm like, business is slow. So now you got to figure out, you just can't stop. But
and then the mind mentally, like it takes a toll on our mind. And I've never doubted my business, but it does kind of make you think like, oh shit, like,
am I doing something
wrong?
Absolutely.
What can I, and I'm going to be very, very honest. Like I did struggle with my business, my wedding business, because I started branching out to shooting more influencers. I wanted to build my brand. I just didn't want to be a videographer for, for the rest of my life. So I decided, but doing that hurt the other side, my wedding side of the business. So it is hard, and I'm glad that you brought that up, that, things might be up one day and things might, go down, sometimes, and you have to kind of keep your head up and try to figure out different ways.
You have to be positive. I know right now, like when that was happening with my business, I started listening to a lot of like motivational podcasts, and that's when I told you that I was listening to your podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
Because, I love what you're doing is, you know, you bring in your guests and you have them talk about their success, but then they also talk about how they started and when they were going through and what made them still, you know, keep a positive mind. And then now you see them and you're like, okay, so I can be there, you know, too. It's just, I just have to keep pushing through. I just have to be having that positive mindset, and you have to feed yourself. Like, you have to force yourself to stay positive and feed yourself with positive things, because I did notice a big switch in my life when I would always be like, oh, you know, like, but this is what's going. You start focusing on the bad things and you dwell on it, and if you get stuck there, you're screwed. So, you know, what you listen to, what you hear, what you see really takes a big
the people that you surround yourself with as well.
Yes, exactly. So I, you know, even till this day, whenever, you know, I'm struggling with whatever it is, I try to listen to podcasts and be like, okay, you know, it's going to be okay. Just remind yourself that, you know, we all go through our struggles, but you got to keep pushing through. You got to keep listening, and positive affirmations every day.
And the reason why you're saying like the bringing the guests in, like I said in the previous podcast, like I know you guys more in depth, you know, when we work together, the more we work together, we have more conversation. It's like, there's so many stories that I know that I know people would want to, or that need to hear, because they look at successful, not necessarily just influencers, millionaires, you know, that they're like, they did struggle, you know, they do come from a background. I didn't know that you were from Mexico. Now you're here because of DACA, from DACA. Yeah. So then there's a lot of people out there that are maybe they feel that, you know what, I'm not from here. I can't, you know, what can I do? Exactly. Like, but there is a lot of things you can do. Your brother came here and started, you know, building his business. Exactly. It's just, I feel surrounding yourself with people that are in the industry that you want to be a part of. Absolutely. And always having that positive, I would say, group of people, because there is also the positive people, but positive to like just chill, and you don't need that. You don't need a girl. You
get comfortable.
To get comfortable. And again, there's nothing wrong with that for people that want that, but it's not cool to instill that in people that have the hunger.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of people that have that fucking hunger, that want to do it.
But they can, because you have those little voices in the back. Yeah. Like, you should be humble for what you have now and be grateful, and that's it. But it's like, no, it's okay to want more. If that's what you want, it's okay, you know. And just, it's very important, like you said, to have that group of friends that are encouraging you and are always telling you, like, well, this is how you can grow, like, you know, and include you. Or, you know, whenever they are having conversations with other people, if they bring you along, like, that's you know, it's very, very important, the people you surround yourself with.
Asking questions, I feel asking questions has been one of my biggest you know, help for my business, because before I was embarrassed, and before I was like, I want them to know that I know what I'm doing. Oh, you know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of like, now it's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to ask a question. Like, even you, I'll ask you a question that I know that could benefit me, or that can help out my business. Absolutely. Or that can help. Like, for instance, TikTok right now, it's like, I'm old, you know, like I'm not that
You're not old. How old are you?
I'm 31 years old. Last time I said I was 30, but I'm
so you just call me old.
No, but I'm 32. No, I'm 32 in October. So
he's like, it doesn't count. It's next month. So.
Next month. Oh shit, it is next month. Damn.
No. You're young.
Well, my daughter's gonna be 15 in November.
Do you ever go out with her and they're like, that's not your dad, like, that's your brother right there?
I'm embarrassed to say this, but we recently went to high school to register her, and this is embarrassing. And so we went. So my girlfriend was signing her in, and the lady kept on saying, "Oh, well, to sign him in, you need to." She just kept on saying him. And then we went outside to the next step of registration, and then she tells me, she's like, I think she thinks that you're getting registered, not her, that she's like maybe like in middle school. And then I'm like, oh, maybe. So then she ended up staying for school that day because we enrolled her late.
Okay.
So it was like the school already had started. And so they told her, like, you know what, you're going to stay. You're actually going to stay. So just grab your stuff.
Yeah.
And then I told my girlfriend, I was like, what is she going to eat? I'm like, I think I should go get her some money. That way she has something
money
to
for
eat.
lunch.
Yeah. So I go outside to the office, in front of the office, and I'm walking out, and the lady from the front, from the office, the registration, she goes, "Hey, kiddo, where do you think you're going?" And I'm like, "Excuse me, I'm sorry." And then there's another lady. She's like, "Oh no, I think that he came to register his daughter." And then she looks at me, the one that asked me where was I going. She looks at me. She's like, "Do you have your ID with you by any chance?" And I was like, "No, I don't have it." And the other lady goes, "No, he's okay. So yes, they do still. I'm glad they do. I mean, it's like a little compliment, you know, but still,
I feel you.
Sucks.
Yeah, when I don't wear makeup, they always think Mila's my sister.
Wow.
And then we'll go out, and then they'll be like, "Oh, how old is your sister?" And I'm like, "That's my daughter." And they're like, "What?" Even with Aiden, you know, because I look young too. I'm
so
31 too. Yeah,
we got good genes.
We got good genes, and we're very blessed. But I feel you. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, damn, I want to look like a mom.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. So I was talking about TikTok. So I feel like a dinosaur, right? Like in that app, because there's a lot of kids, you know, that use it with ease and know the strategy or the algorithm. And that's one of the things that I was dealing with my business. I'm like, I've always tried to instill information in my head in terms of like being ahead of what's coming next and everything. And again, that's one of the struggles that I've had to go through with my business, you know, trying to figure out, okay, what strategies can I use, you know, because it's not just about word of mouth, you know, you have to brand yourself. It's not about just
now.
The next client.
It's branding, and then social media is like a big thing right now. And I'm in the same boat as you are, because I think we grew up with like no phones and all of this. So for me, even now, and it's crazy that you bring that up, because I just learned how to edit. I just edited my first YouTube video, and I feel so proud, because I was like, I need to learn. But for me, back before, it was like, what the heck? How do people do this? Like, I could not edit to save my life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm like, I gotta stay on top of the game. And so I started watching YouTube videos, learning how to edit. I'm like, how do you save from Dropbox? Like, I'm so new to this whole technology, and it's crazy because people are like, well, you're an influencer, you do YouTubes, like, how do you not know this? I'm like, I don't know. Like,
hey, Jose,
I know,
she's coming for your clients.
I know, I'm coming for you, you know. But because, you know, he was the one in charge of all of that. So now I'm like, damn, there's a lot of things to learn, So I'm like, damn.
I'm happy that you say that, though, that you're learning, because that you're still trying to expand your mind to your business, and everything is for your business, you know. Like right now we have a current plan of phases and what we're gonna do, what's the end goal, and I feel that's what's gonna help a lot of you guys that are out there that are trying to build a business, that are trying to always try to figure out what's the end goal, or what at least you want to strive for. And that's what's going to kind of help you. Okay, well, now I know I need to edit, because I know I'm going to be doing social media. I know I need to do the TikToks. I know I need to do all that. So I feel that the more you know, or not know, but, you know, at least have an idea of what you want your business to be, then that's what's going to help.
You got to take action.
Right.
Action. Yeah. And I think it's always really important, you know, even if it's not about your business, it's really important to always learn new hobbies, always expanding your mind, like you said, because even though it might not, you know, be beneficial for your business, it's beneficial for yourself as a person, to grow, to learn, and it motivates you to look forward into something in life, you know, to have a purpose, to not just sit there and be like, well, I'm not good for nothing, you know, find something like you're passionate about. And that honestly helps you feel, because I know for me, like, even just editing, it makes me feel proud, and it makes me feel like, okay, I learned this. What else can I learn? You know, like, let me learn something else. And it's just expanding your mind for sure.
And you bring up a good point. The satisfaction that you got from editing, for a lot of people, it can be like, oh, it's just an edit. But when you're in a position where you're like, fuck, what the fuck do I need to do for my business to grow?
Absolutely.
Any little thing that can kind of trigger your brain to be like an accomplishment helps.
It helps.
You know what I mean?
It boosts some self-confidence.
Yeah. Sure. I've done this where, like, my desk I mean, for those of you that know, like people that edit, like we have a fucking mess. I don't know if Jose does the same shit, but like typically we have a fucking mess on our desk.
Yeah.
So when I clean it up and I feel that, okay, cool, like start fresh, you know? But those are little things that you guys should do when you guys are in that rut or in that mind block, the creative block of like, shit, what do I need to do? Just do something that's gonna make you feel, or like you're saying, the editing made you feel like, oh shit, like I'm confident now.
Yeah. And not just even that, but you know, I know that a lot of your audience is females, and if you're watching this, and I've said this in my podcast, like even doing your makeup, getting pretty, getting ready, that honestly shifts your day. Because I know for me, it's like when I do my makeup and I have a nice outfit, I'm like, ooh, you know, I'm this bad bitch again, you know? And it helps you feel confident. When you look good, you feel good, you know? So it's really important, and not just like in the physical aspect, but, you know, when, and it's like, when I was going through like all this, you know, situations where like I hit rock bottom, I envisioned the woman that I wanted to be. I was like, who's this woman that I want to be? And it's like, okay, you know, she owns her own business. She's, you know, showing up as herself, and, you know, she's getting ready. She's starting to wear her heels again. That's for me, right? So I started showing up as the woman that I wanted to be. I woke up every day and I was like, okay, what are her habits like? You know, what is she going to be doing today to reach that goal that she wants to do? So for me, that's what helped me become who I'm becoming now, you know, and obviously I'm not there yet, but just taking those little steps of, you know, whether it's, you know, changing your habit of like picking up every day your clothes, you know, doing this, like little small, like even doing your bed every day, you know, little habits like that. It's an accomplishment, and it feels good, because then you're like, okay, well, I got this. What's the next thing
you
I
go
can
to a
do?
bigger one and a bigger one,
a bigger one, and that's what helps people grow.
Well, I appreciate you for being here and coming and talking to me. I know for sure this episode had a lot of value, you know, things of value for them.
I hope it helps somebody out, you know. I hope whoever's watching this, if you're going through a really hard time, keep your head up, stay positive, surround yourself with amazing and supportive people, and you know, just I hope somebody takes something good out of this,
right?
For sure.
And that's the main thing with this channel. I don't just want to bring influencers or successful people here. I want to make sure that, you know, you've been you're a successful person and an influencer, but you've also been through things that a lot of people might be going through, that they think like, oh, well, I just want to do what she does. It's like, yeah, well,
there's a lot
of thing behind that, you know. So I appreciate you for opening up. I appreciate you for being kind to me. I appreciate you for trusting me with your photos, because you always trust me with your photos.
I'm like, how can I not? You're like the best. You're
thank
so
you so
good.
Much. Thank you so much.
I always brag about you.
I know, and I appreciate you reposting my stuff. That doesn't really happen a lot. So when you started reposting my vlogs, or you started reposting stuff, I'm like, dude, that's so fucking cool. Like, you don't have to do that, you know, and you do that, you know, obviously you're super kind. So I appreciate that.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. It honestly means a lot. And I was super stoked when you reached out, because I was like, damn, he does like some big people. So the fact that you reached out to me, I was like, oh, it means a lot, honestly.
No, well, I'm happy we made it happen. And I'll leave her links down below. That way you guys make sure you guys go follow her channel. Make sure you're going to leave the new one out. Or
yes.
What?
No. Yeah. We're going to, I was just going to add, follow me on my new YouTube channel. I will be posting my new video, hopefully super soon. I'm still working on it. Like I said, I'm just learning how to edit. So be patient with me. I'll get better, I promise. But if you follow that channel, like I said, I will be sharing a lot more of me as a person, like mom, you know, my postpartum depression, all of that, like really going to depth, so you guys can relate, you know, because it's all not just glitz and glams. There's a lot that we deal with, so I'm going to be sharing that, and if you guys are interested, just follow that link.
Yeah, and let me know. You know what I would like to do too, if you guys would be up for it, if maybe we can merge the podcast on one episode to talk about different topics, because I feel that I'm interested in topics like that as well, you know, because that obviously helps me as a better person, or as a man, and that helps the audience, I feel, get two different perspectives of a guy.
And that's one of the things we were trying to do on the podcast. We're like, you know what, we need a man, because we also want to learn from the men. It's just not always about the women. You know, I know a lot of men stay quiet. A lot of men take a lot of things and they don't open up
fucking
because
toxicas.
Fucking toxicas, right?
I'm just kidding.
We make you guys like this, right?
I'm just kidding.
So it's really important, and we do want to have men into there, you know, because we want you guys to express your feelings. Help us learn.
Right.
Because sometimes we're like, what's wrong with these men? Like, les falta algo, you know? But we'll help each other out.
Yeah,
you know?
let's do it. That'll be fun. I think that'll be a good episode.
No, for real. Yeah, be down. I'm so down.
All right, guys. Well, that was it for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe like always. Make sure you guys share this episode with anyone and everyone you know. Till next time.